Have e-cigarettes become the next epidemic? According to the FDA, the answer is yes. 2 million high school and middle school students used e-cigarettes in 2017. E-cigarettes rose 10% in high school students and 3% in middle school students from 2011 to 2017. Tonight, we will talk about what an e-cigarette is, how marketing to young people, how marketing to our young people has been affected, and what the FDA is doing about it. First, while the most common name is e-cigarette, there are other names like e-cig, vapes, vape pens, modes, and tanks. It was invented and popularized by a Chinese pharmacist in 2003, and in 2007 entered U.S. markets. E-cigarettes are battery-powered devices with a heating element. When someone vapes, there is no fire, ash, or smoky odor. They come in many different shapes and sizes. Some even look like pens or flash drives. Typically, a vapor contains nicotine, heavy metals like lead. They have some diseases. They have some flavors that are linked to lung disease and cancer-causing chemicals. The liquid of e-cigarettes come in hundreds of flavors. Now that we know what an e-cigarette is, how has marketing of e-cigarettes affected our teens? Federal law that protects youngsters against conventional cigarettes do not exist for e-cigarettes. The strictly regulated advertisement of regular cigarettes, like no cowboys, no cartoons, and no bright colored packages, does not exist for e-cigarettes. Marketing of these products use chemical solutions with nicotine flavored juices that have names like Bubble Pop, Cotton Candy, and Peanut Butter Cup. According to a past study in 2014, 80% of flavored tobacco was used by kids 12 to 17. Another report from the National Health Interview Survey in 2015 reported that 40% of young adults who use e-cigarettes never smoked before using an e-cigarette. E-cigarettes are easy for minors to acquire, sold online and in malls with no ID. For example, my 16-year-old walked into a Michigan store over the summer and bought an e-cigarette with no questions asked. Last, e-cigarettes are marketed to teens at an alarming rate, not only by the flavors and the size and the shape, but also the size and the shape. The FDA says that e-cigarettes are an epidemic among teenagers, but what are they doing about it? As part of an agency's youth tobacco prevention plan, the FDA has taken several steps in the last couple months to target the illegal sales of e-cigarettes. In May 2018, the FDA and the Federal Trade Commission took joint action against several e-liquid companies that marketed their products to look like kid-friendly packages like Reddi-wip, Nella wafers, and Warheads. Another aspect of the agency's plan is to increase enforcement. More than 1,300 letters and fines went out as a large-scale undercover nationwide crackdown on e-cigarettes to both brick-and-mortar and online realtors. However, there is still no age verification requirements for internet sales to minors. The Tobacco Control Act actually requires the FDA to implement this, and they have not. There are no policies restricting the use of e-cigarettes indoors. There are no federal taxes on e-cigarettes, and only 8 states and Washington, D.C. have implemented a sales tax on e-cigarettes. In conclusion, we have discussed what an e-cigarette is, marketing of them to young people, and what the FDA is doing about this epidemic. E-cigarettes are small and easy to conceal. Marketing and advertisement has been directed towards teens and young adults. But what has the FDA done until recently? Nothing. The FDA needs to step up. Whole generations of children have gone through their teen years with zero restrictions on e-cigarettes.